everyone. It's Stacy from Achievers Prep. Welcome to another edition of It's All Education, the video and audio podcast. I have a very special guest here with me today, and her name is Joaquina Kankam, and she's going to come to us and share with us what it is she does specifically for our youth. All right, Joaquina, I'm coming over to you. Take it away.
Hi, thank you, Stacy. I'm Joaquina Kankam, Dr. Joaquina Kankam. I am the director and senior consultant of School of Solutions, and it's a consultancy that specializes in youth protection, compliance, and risk management. What we do is streamline and audit youth protection systems at various youth servant organizations to enhance their systems to ensure that we not only protect the minors that are in the care, custody, and control of these organizations, but we protect the people that work within these organizations as well. So that's basically what I do.
Now, when you say you protect them, now give us a little bit more information about that, because you and I talked a little bit briefly about this. Now, when you're talking about protecting children, you're talking about, are you putting systems in place that kind of create a checks and balances sort of situation, or can you give us an idea of what you mean?
Yeah, basically that, but I can kind of give you background information on how this got started so that you can understand it. I
Yes.
worked as a 4-H state specialist at a university, at a large land grant university, within a large land grant university system. And we would do programming in the counties and at the university during the summertime. And every year from my very first camp, which I got a month after I started, every year there were so many risks. And all I thought was, we're going to be sued. Like, there's kids getting on buses without permission slips. People that were supervising the kids weren't technically supposed to supervise them because they had things on their criminal background. From, you know, that to having my last camp where I said, this is enough, where we caught two kids in the bed together that was of the same sex. And at that point, I figured this is enough, because we are not working within an environment that would not only protect these minors, but protect the adults that are working these programs as well, because our systems weren't set up to do so. And every time I tried to talk with someone about, what was missing from the youth protection policies, I was basically told our procedures or our measures in place were good enough. So that's basically how I got into this, because, and excuse the phone, this was something that I knew that if someone didn't step in, that nothing would change, simply because the laws that are in place are not really designed to protect children.
Okay.
All the laws are in place are designed to do or assist adults or individuals without criminal records with reporting primarily sexual abuse. And that's it.
Okay.
And if you're not more knowledgeable of what should be included in terms of other areas of youth protection, then 9 out of 10, the lawyers that create these policies for these youth serving organizations, they're not going to consider them because they don't know them.
So I think I love what you do, because I get the concept, and basically it's a win-win for the children, for the parents of those children, and then for the organizations that have to deal with kids. I mean,
Yes.
it's a win-win all around. So I heard you say something about laws. So obviously it takes a lot to change legislation and to have laws in place that could support what it is you do. So is it that you think that you might be able to put these systems in place in organizations and be able to affect laws in the future that revolve around these things?
Okay, well, let's discuss this law.
Okay.
The law that I was talking about in particular is the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act, which was signed in 1974 because there were a lot of child abuse related deaths and fatalities and incidences, and they wanted to create a system to kind of track and record those abuse, those incidences of abuse.
Okay.
Now, the problem with that law, and it's been refunded and restructured and reauthorized several times, and now it's known as the Reauthorization Act, CAPTA Act of 2010. But the law has never been really funded properly, and is basically a trickle down effect that has trickled from the federal law down to the state law and then into these youth serving organizations. Now, when it comes to changing laws, what I've discovered over the last year or so is that it's incredibly difficult to do unless you're willing to um, donate money to Congress people who are sponsoring the laws.
The
And
super
often,
PACs. Yeah.
yeah. So
Mhm.
oftentimes it's even difficult to get them to hear you out and to consider
Okay.
your thoughts unless you are donating money to them,
Okay.
which to me is the backwards way approach of trying to protect children. And it's
Right.
crazy how there's so much legislation and discussion about abortion, but then there's kids that's here and alive and walking around every day. And there's one law that's designed to protect them from abuse and neglect. And that law is very much incomplete because in terms of youth serving organizations, the only thing that the law requires organizations or states to ensure is to make sure that there's a criminal background check as well as mandatory reporter training, which pretty much covers sexual abuse, not
Mhm.
all areas of child abuse. And so when you're only looking at those two things, then you're hiring people who don't have a criminal record, which means that it could be individuals who were never convicted, or they never had a report made against them, or they've never been caught. Those type of individuals can be hired, and then all you're requiring them to watch is maybe occasionally a video on how to report abuse. And what we don't consider is that there's no profile for abusers.
Right.
There's no profile for predators. So anyone could be an abuser, anyone could be a sexual predator, and there's a good chance that they're already hired where these children are simply because the goal is to gain access to their preference. So when you have an environment that has a law that's very kind of not focused on really protecting children, and you have an environment where you have a bunch of children in it, and all you need to do is have a clean record to get in that environment, then
Right.
you're basically setting yourself up for a powder keg, because at any moment, anything could happen, and you've kind of let the person inside the gates in order to do so because you don't know who they are.
So what I basically hear you saying is that what we have in place is incomplete.
Very much so.
It's inadequate, it's incomplete, and what you are looking to propose, or what you propose, can address those inadequacies and make a more complete system that benefits everyone involved, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
See,
Exactly.
I want this information to get out there. Now, before we do anything any further, we need to tell anyone who may be listening or watching us on the replay, or watching us right now, tell them what the name of your organization is and how they can get in touch with you.
Okay, I work for School of Solutions, and you can get in touch with me through a variety of ways. You can go to our website at www.theschoolofsolutions.com, or email me at Joaquina, Joaquina, at theschoolofsolutions.com, and to get any information or to leave a message, on our website or with me personally via email, so that we can discuss any questions or concerns you may have about youth protection in general, or how to enhance your youth protection system within your organization.
I love it. I love it. I love the name of your organization. The School of what? Solutions. You are telling people, listen, this is a problem. Protecting our children is a problem. If you're a youth service organization, you may be at risk or putting yourself at risk for a problem in dealing with youth if you do not have a complete system of checks and balances, policies and procedures that protect both the organization, but especially the children. So you are
Yeah.
the school of solutions. I love it. Joaquina, this is excellent information. I am so glad you agreed to come on the program because I want to expand your reach. I want to expand who hears this information because I know I'm in Florida. Now, where are you located, Joaquina?
I'm located in Texas.
And you're in Texas. This is happening all over the United States. So I believe your programs could be implemented everywhere. So we need to make sure that we get the word out there about the School of Solutions, and hopefully we can do our part to change legislation. Now, we may not have super PAC power, but I think if we bend the ear of enough people and you have enough people buy into what it is you're doing, that can accomplish great things. Do you
Yeah,
agree?
I agree 100%. That's the goal, is to prevent another set of adults now, like we had earlier this month with Simone Biles and the other accomplished gymnasts who spoke before Congress about how they felt the entire system failed them when it came to Larry Nassar at a land-grant university. The goal is to prevent that from happening again, but with the way the system is set up, every day that's a possibility.
That's right. Well, I support you 100%. I support you fully. And anytime that we can come together, we'll do another one of these episodes,
Yeah,
possibly, so that we can get the information out there in a number of different ways. But first and foremost, I wanted to bring you on today to introduce you to my audience, to let people know that you exist, let people know about the School of Solutions, let people know that we need to take adequate steps to protect our youth.
yes, yes, that's all it's about, is protecting the youth and preventing any lifelong harm and damage that may come their way. That's
That's
the
it.
goal.
And in the meantime, we are also protecting the organizations from
Mhm.
liability.
Lawsuits. You know, the with the Larry Nassar case, the president had criminal charges hanging over her head for about 4 or 5 years.
Oh,
And she
wow.
wasn't even directly involved, but it was because of her lack of reporting on the way she handled the situation. She was charged criminally, and those charges were just dismissed last year.
Okay, wow. So that speaks volumes. There needs to be a standard that is in place across the board for the entire country. There
Hmm.
needs to be a standard that is applied. That way, then everyone knows what's expected and you can follow a set of guidelines to
Yeah,
protect the youth and the organization.
yes,
Yes.
exactly.
I wanted you to educate all of us about your programs and let us know that there is a way that we can put in a standard set of policies, procedures, steps that we checks and balances, if you will, that will
Yes,
protect the
exactly.
youth and protect the organization as well. So we
Yes,
definitely, and maybe next time when you come onto the program, we'll actually get you to delve more into your programs and more into what it is you actually propose so that we could get into the depth and the meat of what it is.
yes, yes. I would
Sound
love to
good?
come back and talk about it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, at the end of the day, like I said, the human experience is our classroom and life is our teacher. And it's all education. Thank you, Joaquina. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.